All right, good evening and welcome to the Restoration Now broadcast. Glad to see you all joining us. There's Deborah. Hello. All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight we're going to be have our grand finale of our series we've been doing for the past couple of weeks on how to help your body live. And we have our very special guest, Dr. Kivette Parkes. She is a naturopathic physician here in the beautiful city of Charlotte, North Carolina, but she serves clientele all over the nation. I don't know, maybe even the world. Yes, and so she's been here with us for the past few weeks, giving us some strategies on how to help our body live. And we decided to call the series that because, your body is this thing that you possess. It's not you. You are a spirit. We may talk about that tonight. You're an eternal being, but you have a body, and this body that you possess it's your body, and it's your responsibility to care for this body. And if you take care of your body will take care of you. It's your job. It's the job of your body to take care of you, and to help you move through life and get done whatever God put you on this earth to do. You need your body to do it. And so your body is your responsibility to care for your body. And we thought in this age where mostly what we're hearing in the media, unfortunately, is not how to take care of our body. What we're hearing in the media is maybe just survival, how to keep from dying from this thing called COVID. But we're not hearing much about how to really strengthen the body, how to take care of the body. And I think most people don't even know if you have a strong, healthy body, i.e., what we've been hearing a lot in the immune system, it really will defend you from almost anything, including COVID. A healthy immune system will. So we thought we would just kind of, instead of, we would do something that empowers and equips people with the knowledge that they need to pull out of fear and to get empowered on how to help your body live. And Dr. Parkes has just done a phenomenal, exceeded all my expectations the past couple of weeks, sharing information with us. First week, we talked about physical strategies, like what are those things that we can do in terms of the things that we do with our bodies to help our bodies to live, how we rest the body, how we feed the body, how we hydrate the body. That was really powerful. That episode is on Facebook, on our page here, and you can just click on videos and go and find at first week. It's worth listening to. It is enlightening. It is powerful from a physician with perhaps a different perspective than a conventional medical doctor. And then the second week, last week, was equally powerful, exceeded all of my expectations. We talked about the mind and mental strategies. And I really feel like we need to review some of that, because it was so powerful how you were really showing like what happens in the body when we get stuck in these cycles with all this stressful thinking and this fear thinking. And can you just rehash a little of that for us this week, Dr. Parkes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So last week was great because we really talked about the mind body connection. A lot of times we don't make the connection between what's going on up here and what's going on physically. And so last week we were able to see how just thinking a certain way, specifically negative thinking, or just not feeling good, not feeling happy or positive, how just an emotion can trigger your body to produce certain hormones.
Yes.
And one of the most detrimental hormones is the stress hormone. So when your body doesn't know the difference between when something's actually happening and when you're thinking about it happening.
Yes.
You have the same physical response, in that you create a lot of stress hormone. And so stress hormone is responsible for a lot of physical diseases. So we talked about issues like anxiety. That's definitely driven by high levels of stress hormones, but even more physical things like high cholesterol and diabetes and high blood pressure and things like cancer are all driven by high levels of stress hormones.
Mm.
So it's really important to know that what's going on mentally definitely will trickle down into your physical body. And sometimes you can manifest illnesses and diseases, and you're like, I don't know how this happened to me. And a lot of times you can trace it back to the excessive production of stress hormones. So it's really important to be aware of your emotions, because
Yes.
when you are not feeling good, it means that you are not feeling good, you're feeling bad, and you're probably producing more stress hormones than you should. So
Mhm.
that's really important, especially at a time like now where there's so many reasons to feel bad.
Right, right. I remember when you did the natural health and healing symposium at the Restoration Place a few months ago, and just a powerful statement you made. 100% of your thoughts have an impact on your body.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I knew that to some extent, but that was powerful when that, it's like an awareness came over
Right,
me.
right.
We're trying to we're making the connection between your mind and your body, and we're going to reel it home with the spirit, because you're a three-part being, and everything affects everything. One thing
Absolutely.
affects the other thing, you know and but you said 100% of your thoughts, impact the body, because, I know from the work I do, thinking creates feelings, and those feelings, like you're talking about, some of the negative
Yeah,
feelings and negative emotions of stress and anxiety and all that kind of stuff, frustration and all that,
all of those. Absolutely.
anger, bitterness, all that kind of negative stuff. How it what it does in the body, but it's actually, all of it is triggered by a thought first.
Right, right, right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so 100% of your thoughts create have some impact, physiological impact in the body. They create, you know, either a positive cascade of biochemistry or negative cascade of
Right,
biochemistry.
right, right.
Yeah, and that's so really important for you to know. So you've got to, if you are wanting to become a healthier person, if you want your body to be healthier, it's not just what you're eating or ingesting in terms of what you're putting in your mouth. It's not just going to the gym and being fit. It's not just the vitamin C and the vitamin D and the supplementation and all that stuff that you're taking. You cannot discount your emotional state or your mental state. It's having, um perhaps even an equal, impact
Yeah,
on your body.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I have this course that I teach, and if anybody's interested, you can just go to my website and click education. There's a course that you can sign up for, and it's called Hot Mess to Success in 30 Days,
Wow.
because everybody every now and again can become a bit of a hot mess.
Yes.
And it's a mindset course though that really walks you through the basics of how your mind interacts with your body, like we were talking about, but then how it also interacts with your spirit. And
Wow.
it's like, it's a whole, it's a really great course, and you can get it done in, in 30 days. And there are like exercises, lots of things for you to do. So if you want, more information and more in-depth information about how to do this whole mind, body, spirit thing, I've already thought about all of it, and it's there.
Hmm.
So hey, Kwanitra, she just logged in.
Yes.
Thank you guys for logging in. But that's already there for people who want more detailed information than we can give them in this short time. But yeah, absolutely. The third part is what we're going to talk about today, which I think is, it's like the bow on the top. Like
Yes.
it ties everything together. And if you don't have this part together, everything else falls apart.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about the spiritual connection to help our body live.
All right. So let me ask you though, what since this is more your realm than mine,
Okay.
what is the spirit? Like can you explain to everybody watching like what the spirit actually is? Because a lot of people struggle with just that definition of really understanding what that is.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Believe it or not, I am working very deeply on a master class right now.
Look at
Some
you.
very similar to what you're doing, but mine is called Live Aligned, and it's to help people pull out of chronic stress into a life of more grace and ease. And it's through the process. Mine is through the process of creating alignment with God, the Creator.
Awesome.
Right? It's just kind of like you go to a chiropractor because you're experiencing some discomfort, some pain, right? And the first thing they do their work through making adjustments to get the spine back in alignment, get
Right.
everything back where it's supposed to be. When you get things back in the position, the order and the position they're supposed to be, it's like an immediate relief comes. The pain either diminishes or goes away altogether.
Right.
And so it is with us, in terms of these unseen kind of these pains that we experience in our life emotionally,
Right. Right.
stress and anger and frustration and bitterness and all that kind of stuff. Oftentimes it's because we're out of alignment in terms of, with God.
Right. Right.
And so spiritually, uh uh here's how I would explain the spirit. Like, here's how I explain in my course, Live Aligned, in my master class. um the greatest commandment, according to the scriptures, is the first and the greatest commandment is to love God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. And as I examined that really closely, I thought, well, wow, those are the three core human elements. It's what makes us human beings:
Right.
heart, soul, strength, spirit, mind, and body.
There you go.
Right? So spirit, that's the heart, that's the spirit. That is, what is the spirit? That is the innermost part of who you are. It is the eternal part of you. It is the part of you that cannot be defined by your race, by your sex, by your material possession, by your social status. None of that is who you are spiritually. That is not the spirit. Okay. And so your spirit, it is the eternal, everlasting part of you, created in the image of God. Some would argue it always was, it always will be. That is the spirit. That's my definition.
Yeah, and I love that
Yeah.
definition. Like it's absolutely, correct. That is the spirit is. I always say it's the essence of who you are.
Yes.
It's the part
Mhm.
that is, no matter what happens to your body, no matter
Yes.
what's going on in your mind, like
Yes.
your spirit stays the same.
Absolutely.
It is you. And
Yes.
it's hard to take care of your spirit sometimes because like we don't always talk about it, and
Yeah.
it's not physical and it's not mental. Like it's very hard to
Mhm.
kind of align with it. And so I always tell people your spirit is the truest form of you. And I
Yes.
have this very controversial thing that I always say, and I don't believe in my heart that people can change. And one of the reasons I don't believe that people can change, I believe that you are always who you are. I don't believe that people can change because I don't think you can change your spirit. Like your
Yes.
spirit is the core of who you are. You can
Yes.
change your behaviors, you can change your
Yes.
actions, you can change the way you think, you can change the way you
Yes.
do things, but you cannot change the core, the essence of who you are. And so,
Absolutely.
that is the spirit. And so when I think about your spirit being out of alignment, and I love that word that you used, I feel like when that happens, things are just off. Things are just off in your mind. Things are just off in your body. You quite can't quite seem to like get it together.
Yes.
Um, and how I like to say it is that say you're going this direction, you are going this direction, but where you're really supposed to go is that direction. Like,
Mhm.
so it's like your body, your mind is going here, but your spirit, like your true core, your
Yes.
cause in life is to go that direction. So you're going like opposite directions. You're going this way,
Yeah.
and the spirit is going that way. And for some reason, you're never truly fulfilled. You always feel like you're missing something, or
Yeah.
you're not on the right path, or you can't quite put it together. Things don't really line up the way they're supposed to line up. And it's because you're out of integrity with yourself.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
You
That's
know,
it.
and
Beautiful.
so that's like when you feel like that. And to be honest, I felt like that a lot in my life. And everybody, I feel like, gets to a little point where they're just like, something's just not right. Like, I'm just not, I don't feel right. And
Yes.
you can't quite put your hand on it or your
Yes.
finger on it. It's not a physical feeling. It's not really a mental feeling. Sometimes it turns into a mental thing because
Yes.
the mind, body, and spirit are like this, like they're mixed up with each
Mm.
other. You cannot separate them. So sometimes when you feel uneasy in your body and it's like, well, I'm not really sick. There's nothing like actually wrong with me. Nothing hurts. I don't feel like I'm depressed or anxious or having any kind of mental, emotional crisis, but I just don't feel right.
Yes.
That's an indication that your spirit is just not in alignment with the things that you're currently doing, or the things that you're focusing on, or the things that you're planning, or the things that you're talking about. That
Yes.
is the indication. That thing inside of you that just goes,
Hmm.
something's not right.
Yeah. There's no what I call peace.
Yes.
And so there's no peace because there's no alignment, there's no congruence, there's no, like, in all three parts.
Right.
Mental, this may make sense, but I don't feel any peace with this.
Right.
It may make logical sense. I hear all the reasoning and the logic of it, but something deep within me, I'm not experiencing this thing called peace.
Right.
And that's peace is very spiritual. It's not circumstantial. It's very spiritual. I want to say what I want to validate. You said a controversial thing. You say it's controversial, but you don't believe that people can really can change.
Right.
And here's way I agree. Here's what I call transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation is just returning to who you really are.
There you go.
So
That is it.
transformation is not becoming something different because there's nothing wrong with you. Transformation is returning back to who you really are.
Right.
That is transformation.
Right.
And we can get lost over time. Things happen. We get, something happen, traumas happen in it. We get lost, or pain, or rejection, and abuse, and all of these things, start redefining us, or throwing us off of, or making us forget, or pulling us out of agreement, or causing us to believe a lie about who we really are.
Right.
But
Right.
the work of transformation is really just returning you back to who you really are, who and what God created you to be.
There
And
you go.
spiritually, really, you know, really who we really are is love. We were created by love, for love. That's just who we are.
Right.
And so I call it transformation is really returning to the home base of love of who you are. And that's where all the magic happens right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell everybody this, like, as you get older, you really should become more of yourself, like a
Absolutely.
more authentic version of
Yes.
you. Like when you are younger and you're very you're doing various types of things. You're trying to work on your career, you're trying to build a family, and you're trying to do what
Mm,
you're supposed to do in school, and like you conform to all of these things, and you develop these habits and behaviors that kind of maybe help you succeed in one area. But a lot of times it may pull you, especially if you're stressed doing it. That's
yes.
an indication that it's pulling you further
Mm.
away from who you really are.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So as you get older, and I got older yesterday, Lord have mercy.
Okay.
I was a
Awesome.
little bit older yesterday. So, and that was a really great day for me because I really spent a lot of time thinking about, like, okay, how am I different, or where am I now on this journey of life? And it really is about becoming who I really am.
Yeah.
So it's no longer trying to conform to, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be for this, or this is what I'm supposed to be because I'm trying to get this job or do this thing.
Mm.
I'm becoming more honest with myself about, things that I want to do and that I don't want to do. Before, somebody would say, hey, you want to go here and do this thing, and I don't want them to feel bad, so I'm just like, okay, I'll do it. But now
Yeah,
I have no problem saying, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. And they're like, why? Because I don't want to.
because I don't want to.
Like, it's a very different situation. As you get older,
Yes.
you are, and you don't worry about it as much.
Yeah.
You know, and when you are doing the things that you actually want to do, that's when you stop going in like two different directions. You're
Woo.
going, your soul and your heart and the essence of who you are there, it's moving that way, and then your feet, your actions, are going the same way, and
Yes.
that's when you get that peace, that calm, that I made a
That's
decision,
exactly, that
and
is
I'm not second guessing myself. I'm not worried about, oh, did I make the right decision? Are they going to come back and say something about that? Like, you go to bed, you're like, oh, decision made, done. That's when you know you're in alignment, and you know that that soul part of it is what you are doing is what you're supposed to be doing.
absolutely. That's so awesome. You just said my whole liver line masterclass. Everything.
Well,
That's
because it's the
that's it.
truth, and that's the
Yeah.
thing about the truth. They're not different versions of it.
Yeah.
If it's the truth, it's going to be the same thing repeated over and over again.
Absolutely. So, I think about how, we are in this grinding culture, right? Everything is like just everything's about having more and being more and doing more and all this kind of stuff and grinding and hustling and whatever it takes. It is the most erroneous, unhealthy, counterproductive, just out of alignment message. Throw that crap away. It's a lie. It'll kill you. And you'll get to the top of some mountain and realize you're on the top of the wrong mountain.
Mm, 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 mm.
And so, and it was way too costly. And then you'll spend all of that wealth you amassed trying to either get your health back, get your marriage back, get your sanity back. That's just it's just that's untrue, and it's unnecessary. I believe all of us, we were wired for significance. People
Yes,
pursue fame, but what they're really longing for is the spirit wants is significance, because you
right.
were created for significance, but significance is not fame necessarily. We were created to grow and prosper, but that's not necessarily always money and stuff and material, though we were created to grow and increase. You can kind of see, this is the way I look at myself now, Dr. Parks. I'm nobody's scientist, but I've had a deep, powerful experience that has made me
Yes,
have to re-examine, redefine life now based on truth.
yes.
And so I understand now that I am I am a part of creation, just like the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees.
Yes.
In the beginning, on the sixth day, I believe, God also created mankind,
Right.
human beings. So I am a part of creation. I am a created being. And so just so I see myself now as a part of creation, and I learned so much about how I am created to thrive and grow and live by watching the other things in creation, the trees and the birds and the flowers, and how, think about it, a bird isn't stressing at all. A bird isn't worried. A bird isn't stressing. A bird is using energy and effort to fly and to eat and do whatever birds put in the earth to do, but there's no stress, there's no worry, there's no strain. The flowers, bloom and do all that, but there's no stress, no strain. They're just, they're just, they're just being, and they're wired to do what they were put in the earth to do, to contribute what they were put in the earth to contribute, and that's what they do. And I thought, well, what about us as creation? I believe it is encoded within us, in the spirit, in our identity, in our real identity, in our spiritual essence, who we are, and what we were put here to do. And when we come into alignment with that, there's a grace and an ease. There's no strain. One of the things I do is I'm a communicator. And where, like, to click this thing and go live, or to get on a stage and take a mic, would freak somebody else out, would stress somebody else out. They faint and have anxiety attacks. That causes me zero stress.
Right.
But the easiest thing I do is open up my mouth and talk. There's no stress. I'm a communicator. It's
Right.
what I do, you know? And so there's no stress in that for me. And so those are, and when I do that, and then what I've learned is that's where all my growth is, that's where my impact is, that's where my contribution to the world is, it's where I make the most impact. In my case, it's where I prosper the most. I make the biggest paychecks, when I open up my mouth. And so that's kind of, I think what we're talking about is coming into alignment with operating within who and what you really are, will bring a level of grace and ease over your life it's a that's a healthy space to be in. It promotes health.
Right.
It promotes well-being. It
Right.
gives you that good feeling of fulfillment that is so powerful in terms of physical well-being for the body.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that the fact that you mentioned nature, and that's really important, because as much as we don't acknowledge it, usually we don't walk around feeling connected to the rest of the world
Yeah.
and connected to the earth and all the flowers and the trees. We are.
We are.
And we cannot escape it. Everything is a cycle. And
Mm.
so our hormones cycle with the sun and the
Woo.
moon. So whether or not you notice that it's dark outside or it's light outside, your hormones know. So your
Yes.
physical body is connected to the earth, and not only the earth, it's connected to everybody else on the earth.
Wow. Come
Which
on.
is, that's a whole other we could spend a whole day talking about how we're all connected as a human race. Like,
Mm.
everybody affects everybody else.
Wow.
COVID should have taught us that, because if somebody has COVID and they even speak, it can affect you.
Yeah.
Because you're breathing the same air, and we are all breathing the same air. That's why we can't get rid of this thing ever. But
Yeah.
we're all connected. So what happens? Women can talk about this a little bit more, because in a lot of culture,
Yeah.
women who live closely together, they all cycle the
Yep.
same, down to the day, sometimes to
Yep.
the hour, like,
Yep.
because their hormones talk to each other's hormones. And the
Woo.
woman who has the most dominant hormones, or her hormones take over, and she regulates all the other women. So that's just one tiny example of how connected we are to each other. And so
Mm.
when your soul, your spirit is in alignment with what you are supposed to be doing, the thing that brings you joy, the thing that doesn't cause you stress. Some people are really good at organization. Not
Yes.
me. Not me. I'm not that.
Not me.
Um,
Mm-mm.
I have an assistant or practice manager. She's great at that. Like, I don't know how to organize anything. Some people are really good at planning and doing projects and managing things. Some people are good at art. Not me. I have no
Yeah.
creativity
Mm-mm.
inside of my brain. Some people are good at sports. Like, it really just, the thing that makes you smile, the thing that
Yes.
makes your heart smile, when you are going along your everyday life and just doing stuff, if you don't feel like your heart is fulfilled or you are smiling on the inside, that is the beginning of where that disruption come, and then it turns into mental stuff.
Yes,
Then you
ma'am.
start worrying, then you start feeling depressed for no reason. There's always a reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really, that mind body spirit connection is it's there, whether or not we acknowledge it. And we really have to work on all three legs of the stool, or the stool is gonna turn over. It's not
Yeah.
gonna work. And so, like, that is what I want people to take away from this. Like, we talked about the body, and we talked about the mind, but this is the bow, this is the string that ties it all together.
Wow. It is the root,
Yeah.
is what you were talking about really is identity, who we really are. And that is the root of everything. I say it this way. Your spirit is your being,
Mm-hmm.
your soul, the mind is thinking, and then the body that's doing,
There you
right?
go.
And so it's spirit first. No, yes, being, thinking, doing. And
There
it's
you
really in that order. It starts with being. We try to reach past being and just start doing, you know. But it starts with being first, identity first.
go. Right.
Like you can see people who come into a lot of money, right? They come into, I just heard today a story. I was watching Oprah. This woman, she's an author. She had a best-selling book, and she made millions and millions and millions and millions. She went from broke to making like earning $7 million in like a year or two on her best-selling book.
Wow.
And but because she didn't have an abundance identity, she lost all the money. She literally lost all the money.
Right.
And so the money came before she had the proper identity. She wasn't truly a wealthy person in terms spiritually yet. And so she started, as soon as she got the money, she went out and started spending money on Manalo Blahniks and all buying all this stuff and private jets and all this kind of stuff. Because see, she didn't have the proper spiritual identity that is
Mm, mm,
already
mm, mm.
anchored in abundance. And I don't have to have any of that to be any more, any less than what I already am. Because
Wow.
she didn't have the identity. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying? It's
Oh
so
my gosh. And that that
yeah,
that point is so important because I see that a lot in
yeah.
practice. Like I've been doing this for a very long time and I have seen so many people who struggle with their health. And something real obvious with health sometimes can be your weight. Like I see people who struggle with their weight for years and then they come into our practice and then they lose all this weight and it's just like, oh my God, now I can go out and eat all the ice cream I want and I can do all the stuff.
You
And
got
they're
it.
just like so happy, but they don't understand that, like, because they don't have that identity, they've always seen themselves as bigger, like something snaps in their head and it goes, well, this is not who you are. This smaller, healthier version of you is not really you.
Yeah,
And so it causes them to have behaviors to to move back to the vision that they have for themselves, the identity that they have for
yes.
themselves. And I've actually watched it happen so many times. I remember years ago I had a patient who was actually a nurse and she came into me after losing. She had already lost 130 pounds because she
Mm,
did some weight loss surgery, lost 130 pounds. And she came into my office. This is when we still had a physical office and she sat on my couch. I always have a couch.
mhm.
Um, and she told me the whole story, and I had to ask her. I'm like, seriously, how do you lose 130 pounds and then gain it back plus more?
Wow.
Like how did and you don't have a stomach, so like how is that? Because I didn't think mathematically it's not possible. Like it should be impossible, but she was able to do it, and now she's sitting in my office with no stomach and asking me to help her lose 130, well, it was 150 she wanted to lose at this point because she'd gained more than how she was before.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, no judgment here, like just me and you. Tell me how. Like I just need to understand how you were able to go backwards
Yeah.
after having so much success. And she said it's easy. I couldn't eat a lot because I didn't have a stomach. So what I would do is I would drink. I started drinking everything. She's like, I would melt down ice cream and drink the ice cream because
Oh
then I
my
could get
God.
more than if I tried to eat the solid ice cream.
Wow.
But she's a
Wow.
nurse. Like she works in the health. She works in the middle of a hospital. She takes care of sick patients every day. She has the education. She knows it's not right. But again, her identity was the big girl. She was
Wow.
always in her family when she was younger growing up. She was always the big one. In her group of friends, she was always the biggest one. And when she lost the identity of being the big girl because she didn't change her mindset,
Yep.
she didn't see herself as not the big girl,
Yep.
then she couldn't stay the smaller girl because she didn't know who she was.
Yep. Wow.
And so that's how important that identity, like being in aligned with who you really are, because she really isn't a big girl. Like
Yeah.
but she had taken on that identity because
Yep.
that's what people told
That's
her
what other
she
people put
was.
told her. Yeah, like right, right. So in my work, that would be like she is in agreement with a lie in terms of her identity.
Absolutely.
Subconsciously,
Absolutely.
she is in agreement with a lie
Yep.
in
So
terms of the core of
yeah.
who she really is.
And
Yes.
when you believe a lie, it doesn't matter what the truth, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you see. She was
Mhm.
looking in the mirror
Yeah.
at somebody who was a lot smaller and she didn't see that.
Yeah.
So that it's really important that you understand the essence of who you are and you get your mind, body, and spirit in alignment, because if
In
they're not in
alignment with that.
alignment, your mind is going to do something to get things in alignment, and it may not be the right thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, y'all. This is some deep stuff we're talking about.
Mm.
But people, we're all impacted by this every day. Every day, this is driving our lives in a good, healthy, positive direction, or it is creating some consequences in your life that are
Hmm.
detrimental. Okay. This
Absolutely.
is this is how you work.
Yeah, this is how we all work.
This
Like
is how we
nobody,
all work.
yeah, nobody gets a free
Yeah,
pass. Everybody,
nobody.
we all have mind, body, and spirit, and it all
Absolutely.
kind of works the same way for everybody.
It
So
works
you
the
just
same
have
way.
to be aware of that,
Yeah.
and you have to take the steps. I always say health is not automatic. Like I wish you could just
Mhm.
wake up and everything lines up every day and it's perfect. You're
No,
gonna have to do some work.
absolutely. It's for me, it's every day. I'm ultra aware of this.
Right.
And but knowing is half the battle, right? But the other
Mhm.
half is doing. And so if I'm going to stay in a healthy state of peace and grace and ease, and which I love, I'm just overcoming the exact opposite of that. I had a total breakdown. And so I love this side now. I've learned a lot to get to this place, but I have to do this work every day. I literally have to do this. Like, I practice what I preach. I do this stuff. When I start feeling stressed out, and it can happen to me all the time because I got a lot of demands, a lot of stuff on my plate. And you know what I've discovered, Dr. Parks? I saw this quote somewhere, and then we'll culminate the broadcast. But I saw this quote somewhere, and I know it's the truth because I lived it. Maybe it was Maya Angelou, maybe it was Diana Ross, it was some famous woman. But she said, "It's not the load, darling, but how you carry it."
Mm.
And I lived that. I know it's the truth because my plate is just as full. I don't say busy anymore. I say full plate, you
Mhm.
know, because I say full plate, meaning I don't mind my plate being full because we were intended to work and contribute in life. I'm not looking, I don't get, I'm not the type to be sitting up just idle all the time. I don't think that's what life is about. Life is meant, you're supposed to make a contribution, supposed to work. But, so I like to see my plate being full. And because we all want a full plate, but you just want on that plate what you want on that plate.
Right,
Right?
right.
So I say I have a full plate. And my goal is, because when people say, I know you're so busy, busy is not a compliment to me. I had a breakdown being busy. Okay. That's not
Mhm.
a compliment to me. I don't strive to be busy. And so, but I wake up for the most part every day with a full plate. And my goal is to make sure that at least 80% of what's on that plate, I want on that plate.
There you go. There you go.
80% of what's on that plate is what I chose to have on that plate. I enjoy that. That work energizes me. It's in alignment for me. It's in within my gifts, my talents, my strengths, my abilities, my purpose, those sorts of things. Now it's unrealistic to think that 100% of that, but there's another 20% of stuff that's just I just got, it's just stuff, right?
Some stuff you gotta do.
It's
Gotta
stuff
pay
I
the bills, you gotta do some stuff, like
exactly. I got to pay bills. I got to deal with taxes. I got to deal with
there you go. It's
stuff,
just some stuff.
just life,
Right.
happens. Okay. And so I like to say I have a full plate, but that plate is full of stuff. And so I want to just paint that picture. That plate is full of stuff that I choose, that I want to do, that gives something back to me.
Right.
Okay, in terms of fulfillment or joy, and those sorts of things. And so I think that's a way for you to see your life. It takes courage to live this way because um, For one, I don't think most people live this way because most people, from what I can see, are pretty unhealthy mentally, physically. They live in a constant state of stress, anxiety, fear, um, just angst about life, the
Yeah,
world.
well, so with to put your analogy a little in a different language,
Yeah.
I love the full plate because it's like, say, it's, say it's a plate of food. Say
Yeah.
it's a Thanksgiving feast
Hmm.
coming up, guys, it's coming up. Um,
Yeah.
and you go to this beautiful Thanksgiving dinner and they give you this huge plate, but they're serving you, but all they're serving you is like a full plate of like mush, like
Yeah.
stuff you don't want. You're not getting any of the turkey. You're not getting any of the stuffing that you want. You're getting the dish that the person who couldn't cook, they brought it, and they're piling it on your plate. So you have a full plate, but it's just stuff that you're just like, oh my God, and you're starving.
Yeah. Oh,
You are starving and you have a full plate of stuff you don't want. Like, can you imagine how you would feel at that dinner? Like everybody else has a plate that, oh, her plate looks good. It has like I don't know, some sweet potato pie, or it has some stuff, and all you have is this like mush, this brown dark mush, and you don't even know what it is, and you don't want it, but you have to carry it around, and then you force yourself to eat it. And
yeah.
that's kind of what happens when you have a full plate of things that are not in alignment with what you want.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the spirit knows you know what you want. I could go on so much because I'm past my 50s. I'm in my 50s, and so I've gone through different seasons of life. I'm a wife, 27 years, my mother of six. So I 1000% experienced that whole totally lost myself. I
Hmm.
I didn't even know myself anymore, because my whole identity had become wife and mother. And it was all for me, just completely everything about my being was serving the needs of somebody else.
Hmm.
I absolutely 1000% lost that. And so transformation for me in this season of life is really returning back to
To you.
to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Returning
it's
back to me.
easy.
And it's
It's
restoring
easy
my
to lose
health to me.
yourself. Yep.
Yeah. And
It's
it's
easy to lose yourself, especially for mothers. Like, I talk to so many people all the time, and they're like, no, I got to do this for my kids, and I got to put my kids first. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take care of your kids and you
yeah,
shouldn't do all of this stuff for your kids, but you have to take care of you first.
absolutely.
Like, you have to do you first, because if you don't, your kids won't have you.
They won't have you. Yeah, you're
They
gonna
won't have
be
you, or they'll have a
mhm,
version of you that is not the true you when you're done, taking care of them. It won't be
exactly.
you that's left behind if you're still here.
Exactly. And you don't have to. You don't have to just totally abandon yourself like that. I just, I did what I saw my mother do.
Mm.
And yeah, we could get all deep on this,
Right,
but
right.
and so part of me really living authentically and fully who I really am now, it's been a journey, it's been a process. Everybody around you gets used to a certain you. And so they, that can be a trip. When people get used to a certain you and then you start returning to who you really are, everybody else has to adjust to that. So that's a transition
Absolutely.
right there. That's a scary
Absolutely.
transition. I see
They,
my husband's over here. He
they
knows.
have to get re-educated. You
He
got to
has to
teach them about
He's been through that
introduce them to the
transition.
new you.
But I had to do it because I'm modeling for six daughters,
Hmm.
you know, and so I'm modeling for them.
Yeah,
And so much of still what I do, it's for them. Even me fully evolving into who I really am, I'm modeling also for them how to do this as
absolutely.
a woman, and so this is so rich. I hope you all are getting something. I know you all are getting something out of this. I've learned so much. This is the power of collaboration, and we bring minds together. Do you all have any questions and comments? I see you all just listening faithfully, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys who are hanging in here with
Yeah,
us. But yes, if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them real quickly before we wrap up for tonight.
before we wrap up, How to Help Your Body Live. It sounds like a book, Dr. Parkes.
It might be.
Oh, I'm just winking at you. Sounds like a book.
It might
We have to
be.
work on something. All right. Okay, somebody said they have a praise report. Their foot is not broke. I think we prayed for you last week.
Oh, yes, yes, I
Praise
remember
God for
that.
that. Your foot is not broke. Sharonda says she's really enjoyed these lessons. Praise
Oh,
God. I have
thank you,
to.
Sharonda. Thank you
Yeah.
for sticking with us.
Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, people perish for lack of knowledge, and we're not gonna perish if all
No,
we need is
we
some
got we
knowledge.
got some information.
Yeah,
As
you got
over
some
these last 3 weeks, we've had some good information.
some great information, and I feel like a poster child of everything that's been said. It's like it's me. It's the truth.
Yep, yep, yep.
It's the
You are the
truth.
model student.
Yes, I am the model student. I lived this stuff. I lived on the other side of. I lived it. And I know the truth of it. Okay, you know what you want.
Yes.
Angel,
That's
I
the
believe
angel.
we really do know what we want. It's there.
It's on
Um,
the inside.
yeah, it's
Sometimes
on
we
the
just are not brave enough to like verbalize it. We're not brave enough
total.
to even acknowledge it.
Yes, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, you want what you want.
You know what you want, and there's nothing wrong with what you want. And this
Mm-mm.
Christian in religion, I hate religion because religion is such a thief. It's a thief of joy. It's a
Hmm.
thief of every good thing in life. And it makes you suppress who you really are.
Who you
It
really
makes you
are.
suppress desires that are hardwired into you by the creator. And so you don't have to be afraid of what you desire. So there's a difference between desire and lust. Desire is of the spirit, lust is of the flesh.
Right. Right.
There's a difference. There's a
And we always, the true desires that we
mm,
have, the real ones, the ones that are aligned with us and aligned with God, they're always pure. The
pure.
thing is, some of us get so dragged down and beaten up by life and society that we just don't even think our desires are possible. So we don't even bother with them. It's just like, in my heart, yeah, maybe I think I might really want this, but yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that. And then we
Right.
just back away from them,
Yep.
but they keep pulling us.
Yep. But they
So
keep pulling.
that is when you know it's with your soul. If you keep going back to the thing, if you keep saying, "Ooh, this is really what I should be doing, or really what I want to be involved in,"
Mm,
that's your true desire. We're not
yep.
talking about when you really want a cupcake. That desire is not. That's not type that we're talking about.
Right. Right. Right.
It's not
Yeah.
off God.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to learn the difference between desire that is from deep within and
Yep.
just lust.
Yeah.
There's a difference. And I was reading I was searching for a file, and to make a long story short, I was reading some stuff that I wrote in 2013, and I thought it just won't go away. I mean, now I'm doing now what I wanted to be doing in 2013.
There you go.
That's 8 years, right? So
Wow.
that means
Wow.
that thing is deep within me. It's not going away.
It
That's
won't
the
go
reason
away.
I
It
was
won't
put
go
on
away.
the planet.
It won't go away.
It's not going away. That is a deep desire. And more than that, if the desire is from God, it's connected with a purpose way bigger than you.
Yeah. And that is your spirit. Like your
Yeah.
spirit's always connected. And so whenever you are not feeling all together, you're feeling like something is not quite right. You really have to go back to your spirit and
Yes.
really be honest with yourself, because you're the only one who knows what you want.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows what you want.
That's right.
Nobody knows what's in alignment with you. Your spirit tells you that. And if you keep ignoring it, then you're just going to get more and more symptoms.
That's all
And,
right.
until the symptoms get so big that you go to a doctor and ask for a pill, and then that there's going to be a whole cycle. So you
Yeah.
really, really have to listen to your spirit.
Listen. Whew. Honor your spirit.
Ooh,
Like you
yes,
honor your body, honor your spirit.
yes.
Oh, this is so good. Well, you all, we got to wrap up. Dr. Parks, I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience, personal, clinical, with us, being just open and honest, bold and courageous, because you're talking differently than a lot of mainstream physicians are talking today.
Right.
Or what we're hearing on the ones we're hearing on the media a lot anyway. And so, but I appreciate that. I know, I personally believe it is wise to get different perspectives. uh, you
Absolutely.
know
Absolutely.
one side of a story is never the truth.
Never the truth. Oh
We
my
all
God.
know that, right?
And there is only one truth.
And there is only
There's
one.
not different versions of truth. There's only
Exactly, come
one
on.
truth. And
Right.
your soul will tell you, your spirit will tell you, your body will tell the
Yeah,
whole thing. You will know when you hear the truth. When
come
you
on.
don't hear the truth, something goes, and you either ignore that or you go with it. So,
Right,
thank you guys
right.
so much for having me. It's been a pleasure over these past few weeks. And,
Yes,
for everybody who's watched, thank you so much for watching. And I hope this was beneficial to you.
I know it was. And you all can connect with Dr. Parks and all of her wonderful services that she provides. I highly encourage it. I believe in the naturopathic way to health and well-being. We love our other, we love hospitals and other physicians when we have crises and things like that. Absolutely, yes. But in terms of really, if you want to create health and well-being and deal with some chronic um, illnesses that may be dealing with, that appeal is just not resolving. Dr. Parks and other doctors like her, they're your answer. Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're your answer. They know the path to that. All right. So you can connect with her at drparks.com,
Um,
and that's Parks with an E.
yes.
All
Yes.
right. All right. God bless. Thank you so much, Dr. Parks.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.